So this theme today is called The Road to Freedom. And it's kind of getting in step with the rhythm of life. Because on that rhythm of life, there's ups and downs and ins and outs and fast and slow. And I think what you were saying in your prayer, Barbara, is that freedom is a divine birthright. And on the first page of our Science of Mind textbook, our 650-some page book, it says freedom is our divine birthright. The seeds of freedom are planted in everyone, not some people, but everyone. But they're there for us to discover ourselves. Because God couldn't make a unique, amazing, creative being that's filled with their own different capacities and potentials and desires and wishes without giving us free will to discover all that stuff ourselves. So we have that beautiful free will inside of us. And, you know, oftentimes in life, at least I have felt that I really didn't have any control. That life was doing things to me, and I didn't have anything I could do about them. But that wasn't the truth. And a person that knows so much about that is Viktor Frankl. And in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, here's a quote that he shared. Everything can be taken from a person, except one thing. The last of the human freedoms, we choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose our own way. We can take any experience that comes to us and make a decision what to do with it. That only happens, though, if we have a mind under control. Because between the stimulus that comes to us, whatever it is, good, bad, ugly, joyful, not, whatever, there's a space between the stimulus and our response to it. The space is where we can make our choice, where we can choose to see something better or not, where we can decide, I've got the resolve, I've got the resilience, I've got the power to make sense of things. I have the power to find peace in this moment. It's that little space, but you and I have to get to a place where our minds aren't just, does anybody relate to this? All the time, nonstop. You know, we have to find the peace and the practices where we can settle in. So we let that freedom to choose bubble up inside of us, and we are in control once again. Joseph Campbell says, where you stumble lies your treasure. I don't know, my knees are just scratched up. No, right there where we stumble, we choose what to do with that moment. You know, there isn't a power of evil and a power of good, a power of possibility and a power of failure. There's only one power, and we get to choose how we're going to use it. So when we fall, when we fail, when we stumble, we have the opportunity to find the blessings, the teacher, what's in it for me, what am I to do with this, or just make the space for it to come to you, for intuition to let you know what's available for you at that time. Ernest Holmes says, our loneliness, our sense of isolation, poverty, doubt, fear, all come from our disconnection to our divine self. Because when we plug in, it's like, Barbara, when you read that beautiful, beautiful poem by Rumi, he was beyond all the chaos of the world because he was so at one with the truth of his being, that he could rise above and watch the things and still find the peace in all of it and make peace with every bit of it. We have that possibility in us. It was interesting, at the anniversary party that was at the beginning of this month, we were definitely celebrating and having a great time. And the one thing, it was a question that was said to me more than anything else is, where are the people on the wall? Where's the wisdom wall over here? I want the people back. And I said, you know what? We're working on it. those people had been hanging up there a really long time. And they were there in our San Juan days, so I say at least 15 years hanging on that wall with the lights beating on them. They needed a little work done to them. So we are redoing the people, and we're also trying to figure out what to do with a few other things, so they're coming back. So what I decided to do this Sunday is read you a few quotes from the people on the wall. So, you know, we can remember why we love them so much and why when you walk in you go, oh, they stood for, each one of the people there stood for the road to freedom. Their heart, their soul, their faith was in it. So if we're going to be on this road to freedom, which is bumpy and smooth and joyous and green and dry and whatever, all at the same, not at the same time, but the whole package, we need to have faith. And faith is the knowing that there's something more at work. And here's what Desmond Tutu said. He said, faith is being able to see that there is a light despite of the darkness. There is a light. And Judy, you mentioned that to me this morning. We're coming to be filled with light this morning, you know, just the light of faith that lets us see beyond. Martin Luther King, another one of our wisdom people, said faith is taking the first step even when you don't know, even when you don't see the whole staircase. That first step, I often talk to myself, I talk to friends and people, what is one step? What can you do? What's the next step you can take towards something better? We don't need to see the whole thing. What's that one step? But in order for us to take that step, we need faith, and to have faith and to expand our faith, we need spiritual practices. Now, I don't know what spiritual practices are the best for you, because it's a personal thing between you and God, between you and Spirit. What is it that ignites your soul and allows you to move past the problems into the possibilities? What is that? I mean, do you meditate and get quiet and settle? I always say, let my mind rest on my heart, because that's where the spirit, the soul lives, right there. Let your mind rest on your heart. Do you say your prayers? Do you read spiritual readings? Do you walk in nature? Do you go to the beach? What do you do to find your connection to the Spirit, to build that faith that builds that resolve for us, that we can travel this road of freedom in times of celebration and mourning, as we talked about today, that paradox of life. What is it for you? I know for me, I often, and I love when Gretchen and the band do this song, be still and know that I am God. That's just my go-to. Be still and know that I am God. I know Mary Vavrick always tells me that what she knows is it is the Father within me that does the work. That's where I get my strength. I know something greater is working in me. We all have our own little things that will keep us keeping on. The one thing I think we need to know is that freedom, oh my gosh. Ernest Holmes says, we are born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing, to have fun in living, to consciously unite with a divine power, and grow and expand forever and ever. What he does not say is we are free to do anything that contradicts divine nature. That's not what freedom, spiritual freedom is, to do anything that contradicts the goodness of life. And if we do, we can learn and grow. But that's here for us. Mahatma Gandhi, who is also on our wall, says the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. To lose yourself in the service of others. Where we go from the small self to service. I actually think I was listening to the second song the choir's doing. I asked Alexa to sing it. I'm not going to tell you yet. And you know how sometimes it keeps playing on, and it just, other songs keep on. And I heard this line that from the song, of course you don't know what song's singing, you don't know who's singing it. But it just, I thought, I've never heard it put this way. And it was, your success is in my plan. Isn't that just so cool? Where you could look at somebody and say, your success is part of my plan. I want you to succeed. I want us all to succeed. If we could be there, how good this world would be. We had a really beautiful day yesterday. We usually don't do things on Saturday afternoons, but when your daughter and granddaughter ask you to go somewhere, how can you refuse, right? So Deanna said, Mom, they're having an Africa Day celebration in Escondido on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a way longer drive. It's Memorial Weekend. But would you and Dad like to go? And I said, sure, that sounds great. I'll get the tickets. So I went online, and the tickets were like $75 each. And I'm like, what kind of celebration is this? Well, she told me it was at a park. Well, it wasn't. And I didn't get everybody's tickets. I just sort of made everybody pay for their own. But anyway, it was at this winery up in Escondido. I didn't know they had wineries in Escondido. It was way, way, way up this mountain. Only served San Diego wines. I didn't know San Diego made wine, so that was interesting. But you went up and you're on the top of the world. You could have this beautiful view. It was amazing. And this Africa Day celebration was put on. Deanna knew about it because she's been African dancing for a long time. And so she's part of an African dance and drumming group. And then, of course, when Naya came, we were blessed with Naya. Naya's now going to that. But they had a beautiful, they had an African band and music and an African buffet. And that was all beautiful and fun and joyous. But the activities, the woman who planned this, Joanne, they came in their beautiful, beautiful African clothing. She said, this is about learning about each other. This is a day of unity and diversity. And so we came in and we talked a little bit with the people, but then she got us out. We all had a little sticker. And you got in, I was in an orange group, Kirk was in the red group, Deanna was in the green group, and you were standing here and she said, I want you all to find out about what you have in common. What you have in common. So to my right, I had a man from Nigeria, and to the left, I had a woman from Afghanistan, and then we went around the circle, and everybody was different. We were all talking about how we're alike, and it was fun. We got to know each other, and then she'd have us say, okay, well, tell in your group, what did you find that you were alike? Well, there were so many different things and reasons, but we all felt like we were family. It was so beautiful. And then she read some African proverbs, and she said, I want your group to come up with the ideas that you think that proverb may mean. In Africa, we go with the spiritual proverbs. And I remember from being in Africa on 2 different occasions that the spiritual proverbs are always mentioned. And the first one she read was, rain beats the leopard's skin, but does not wash out the spots. And it was the different interpretations. Now, it was really good when, of course, we all had our different interpretations of what that was. But I couldn't believe the people that were looking on their iPhone to get the answer. Man, isn't that something you're supposed to just get from your soul? But it was cute. It was cute. It was fun. But I asked her. It was so beautiful. And, of course, we did some African dancing. I can't resist. Ow. Just ow. But it was so fun. It was so beautiful, and we left in a good way. And I asked the leader of the group if I send her something about our community, if we might have a little time together here. I said, we have a big enough place. It would be so special because you come from this beautiful place of service and caring that we could be together in that, in unity and diversity. I love it. When I talk about the road to freedom, I do think one thing we need to think about is the legacy we leave. Are we leaving this world in a better place than we found it? Not yet, but we can. We can. Each one of us can make a difference. And that reminds me of another African proverb. If you think you're too small to make a difference, you've never spent the night with a mosquito. So, on that note, to make a difference and be building this legacy we know is possible, I want you to just, right now in your heart and mind, think, what is it I am free to? And if our practitioners and our ministers would make a beautiful wall of prayer here, Just knowing that we are connected and united to that infinite spirit, the unlimited possibility and creativity of the goodness of God right here and right now, that we're connected to that. There's no interference. We just open ourselves. And if you come up here and let your practitioner be the conduit for that goodness, be the conduit for that love. So come on up. So I'd like to close with a quote by Mother Teresa, who also hangs on her wall. She says, peace begins with a smile.